Hey guys, it's Maggie and I am back today, and in today's video I wanted to talk about the mental side of an ectopic pregnancy. I know I recently just shared a video talking about the whole experience, basically a recap of everything that happened over the last couple of months, but just quickly, if you're not familiar, I went in for fertility treatments because my husband and I were not having any success on our own, and after the first round of fertility treatments, doing a medicated IUI cycle, I wound up pregnant, and I was shocked. I was so surprised when I started to get positive tests. I wasn't even thinking that anything would go wrong. I don't know. I've never seen a positive test before. I've never been pregnant. And when it happens, you just kind of assume that, okay, there we go. Like, fantastic. Obviously, that is not what happened. From the very beginning, I had low HCG levels, and it just wasn't progressing how it should be. So they were suspicious from the beginning, and I was very cautious about getting too excited. And obviously, after a few weeks, once things got far enough along, they were able to see that it was not in my uterus, meaning it was ectopic. It wound up being in my right fallopian tube. And the whole ordeal, obviously physically was a struggle because everything that happened, trying to treat it with medications, that not being successful, having doctors at a hospital versus a fertility clinic kind of go against each other and not agree on what to do, and then eventually rupturing because, it was decided not to do surgery on me, and I wound up rupturing at home and had to get emergency surgery. That was a lot. I guess in the times that I've heard about pregnancies not going right, whether it's a chemical pregnancy or a miscarriage or whatever it may be, I have not thought about how intense it can be, how long the process is, and how absolutely devastating it is to be reminded constantly of what is going on. That was wow. It was obviously devastating to lose a very wanted pregnancy. I really wanted it to be in the right spot. That in itself was a struggle, but I didn't realize everything else that goes along with that. Ectopics and miscarriages and all of that requires so much monitoring, and there are different ways to treat it, and they're not always successful, and sometimes things go wrong, and that's exactly what happened in my case. And I have a complicated medical history as it is. I've had emergency surgeries before, and I've gone through a number of procedures. This was different. This changed my brain. I don't know how, but it was so traumatizing. It was just so much, so quickly. Decisions had to be made fast, and all the while I'm thinking about what the future could have been like. All this being said, it's been a hard couple of months. It really has been. I have just recently, we went to a parade, and I saw in the parade there was a fire truck, and a mom was holding a baby in the fire truck, and I got all choked up. I couldn't speak for a couple of minutes because you just think about the what ifs, what could have been. I've had to excuse myself when we're in social gatherings because I get choked up. Zach, my husband, has seen it a number of times. So today I really wanted to talk about this experience and talk about that mental component of it, as well as the things that I am working on, the things that I'm doing or using to help move myself forward. And one of those is actually BetterHelp, which is today's kind sponsor. I had mentioned, at least I believe I did in recent videos, that I wanted to start some sort of therapy. It's the first thing that when they rolled me up to my room after surgery, I told Zach, because I had never cried so much. I was just beside myself with everything that happened, just losing a pregnancy, but also how quickly things turned out badly. Years ago, when I was experiencing something called PMDD, I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. It is wild. It is terrifying if you've ever dealt with PMDD. It's just 2 weeks out of the month, basically. I would not be able to function. I would just feel so alien in my head, and I felt so odd, and I just had this sadness that I couldn't explain why was happening. There was no reason behind it. It was terrifying. It's terrifying not to understand the emotions you're having, and it can be difficult to figure out what is going to work to help kind of regulate the hormones and get you back on track and not have these wild fluctuations. And so during that time, I actually used BetterHelp to bridge me through that period, to help me when I just felt so alone. I was so isolated. And of course, you know, my husband didn't understand what was going on, and I couldn't describe it to him. I tried talking with my dad. My dad didn't know what was going on, so I didn't really have anybody close to me that I could talk about this experience and feel like they knew what I was talking about. It was so isolating, and I was using BetterHelp to be able to communicate the experience to someone who had knowledge about it and understood, and it really helped so much. So I'm using it today again because I'm kind of in that same situation where, you know, even though my husband also experienced a loss, he's not in the body that's physically experiencing that pain. So it has been extremely helpful. BetterHelp will connect you with a licensed therapist that offers that listening ear and can provide unbiased advice, and they usually connect you to a therapist within 48 hours. That's exactly what happened with me. First, you'll head to their site by going to betterhelp.com/LetsTalkIBD, and they'll have you answer a series of questions that helps them to match you to a professional that has years of experience helping people with struggles that are very similar to your own. You can communicate with that therapist on your computer or your phone. You can video call them, phone call them, message them, really whatever you are most comfortable with. And that's what drew me in. Having therapy is great, but the logistics of actually getting to an appointment can sometimes be difficult. You know, we only have one car and I don't have the car all the time. So that can be really difficult. It's an added stressor. That's why this is really nice, because it takes that element out of it. Let BetterHelp connect you to a therapist that can support you, all from the comfort of your home. Visit betterhelp.com/LetsTalkIBD or go to their site and select my channel name, Let's Talk IBD, during sign up, and you'll get a special discount during your first month. Thank you, BetterHelp, so much for sponsoring this video. I really appreciate you supporting me during this very rough and unusual time that I just did not expect to be going through. With everything that's happened and, you know, the progression of how it went down, it was a few weeks of me, you know, getting these positive pregnancy tests and going for blood work every other day and getting invasive ultrasounds. That was just, it felt so long. It felt like years. And then afterwards, you know, as I began telling people, I had really wonderful friends that sent me flowers. Stoma Cloak sent me flowers, and it was just really kind. So I have a few mementos during the period. I know I feel like maybe silly saying this, but at the same time, I think that everybody has different feelings about these types of experiences. They kind of grieve them differently. And for myself, I'm a collector of things. I am a little bit sentimental, so, you know, I find it difficult throwing things out. So during this period, while I didn't have, you know, an ultrasound photo, I don't know if I could have asked for one. Maybe I could have. I don't have that, but I have the little mementos that I collected, so I decided today that I wanted to put them into a box so I can put those memories of this time into this box, and I can look at it when I want to, but it's not in my face. Everything that I put into this box was scattered around our house, and so I wanted to collect it into one place that I can view it whenever I want. So that's what I did. I got this nice little box on Amazon, and you know, I put it together. I put some pink tulle. I felt like that was soft and nice to put everything on top of. And first I put all of the pregnancy tests that I took, and it was a lot. I took a lot because every day I wanted to see the lines get darker, and of course they did, so I kept taking them. I had so many. I stopped taking them the day that I found out it was ectopic because expense. Those tests are expensive, but also I just didn't want to see the lines get lighter. I put those into the box first. I dried and put in a few roses that 𝙗𝙪𝙨𝙨𝙗 had sent me. I had them hanging up like in this back hallway here, just drying, so put them into the box. I also had dried ranunculus that my friend Lexi sent me, and she sent me a nice little message on the flowers. So I put that in the box. My other friend Kelsey sent me a little Morse code bracelet and a little message card. She sent one to Zach too, but I put my bracelet in there because, you know, that's his bracelet, but I put that into there. Zach's sister also sent me something, so I saved a little Amazon receipt with the message and I put it in there. I have it all here, and I can keep it in here, close it up when maybe I'm not wanting to look at it or think about it. I've already shown you guys this ring. I rarely take it off. I think I only take it off to shower now because I don't want my fingers to swell up like my wedding band here, but I have this on my hand, so I have my reminder. But the stuff like the pregnancy test, they were sitting in our bathroom, and I don't want to see it every day, you know? So that is all in here, and I think it's a nice way to just keep the memories somewhere. I'm not tossing them in the trash. I feel like I have them, and years from now, if I want to keep looking at them, I can. The other thing that for me has been extremely helpful, and I have used this for many years as, you know, just something to focus on and something to work on, is my garden, of course. And I didn't want to leave you guys hanging and not show that, but we have worked on our garden quite a bit. We created 2 new garden beds that I'm very excited about, so I'll show them here. Okay, here's the new little garden area. It's definitely not perfect, but I'm really excited about it, and it's right next to the house, so this will be a lot easier for me to manage. Put these stakes up here so I can let my tomatoes kind of trellis up them. This little area is going to be for my peppers, so I space them out with these little shish kebab sticks, and more tomatoes down here. And then I think I'm going to do like marigolds, calendula, stuff like that in these 2 spaces between the peppers and the tomatoes. And over here is the other garden area where I'm going to do my green beans. I'm really happy with this. This looks so much nicer than it did before. This was like kind of eroded and it needed to be filled in with soil, so now it is. I love it. Please ignore the pile of bricks here. This is just another project we need to do. That we haven't for a few years now, is putting all of our bricks from our walkway back, but I'm not really worried about that right now. And this is where I'm planting all of my vegetables and stuff and flowers. So I have zinnias and I have calendula. I've got green beans I put out there. I put out all of my tomatoes, all of my peppers, put some basil and some parsley in there, a few marigolds, and just being outside. Every time that I'm sad, I'm like, I'm just gonna take a nap. Every time that I've decided, no, let's get outside, let's do something in the garden, whether it's pulling weeds, good way to get your anger out, or, you know, plant the plants, make the garden beds. I feel so much better, and it feels so simple and silly. Like, is it really gonna make that big of a difference? I find that the more simple the solution, the better it works for me. So getting out in the garden has been so therapeutic, and I think it's just that it's that activity that gets you moving, gets your brain on something else, feels like you are creating something and growing something. I think everybody's activity is going to be different, of course, but mine has always been gardening. And I think this year too, what I feel really good about with my garden is I don't feel overwhelmed by it. I have in the past been really, really ambitious with not a lot of time, and that can make your activity not feel fun anymore. So this year I was like, you know what? I want garden beds that are close to the house. I'm not trekking out into the, you know, basically the wild to go work on the garden, and I don't have to worry about so many weeds getting into it. I just want something that's small and manageable, but still gives me my green beans, gives me my tomatoes that I love, and feels like I'm accomplishing something. So that was a really, I think, good decision on Zach's and my part. Of course, he made my garden beds. I could not lift all that soil, but I think making the activity manageable, make your goals realistic. Yeah, that has helped a ton. I feel like I'm doing better every single day, but I just want to say, if you experienced anything like this and you're wondering why you're still crying a few months later, years later, that is okay. And I just, man, I did not know the emotions that would go into this and how much it would affect me. So I just want you to know that if you've experienced it and you're feeling kind of alone because the people around you might not understand, you're not actually alone in it. You are so surrounded by really endless people. That's what I've discovered. The more that I've talked about it, the more people that, you know, I've met that have experienced something similar. And honestly, it's been so encouraging because many of the people that I've told who then told me they also experienced an ectopic pregnancy, I think nearly every story the person has said, yes, and here are my kids that I had after. You know, it doesn't stop you from having kids just because you lose one fallopian tube. So birds are going crazy outside. That has really been encouraging to me, and it's helping me even more so to move forward as I look at, you know, what I want to do in the future fertility wise, what plans, you know, Zach and I might want to do. This mental component of an ectopic loss, it definitely changes you. It definitely is difficult, and I think finding the ways that'll help you heal both physically and mentally are huge, are just so important. And I'm glad that I'm starting to find that. I'm finding, you know, my little ways to commemorate what happened. I'm learning who I can communicate with that has that outside perspective, but also understands a bit more. You know, I love talking to Zach about it, but he will never experience it firsthand. So that has been the difficult part about this. So finding somebody like with the therapist who can just help me evaluate the situation and just kind of listen so I can process everything that happened is absolutely huge. And of course, finding those activities that make you feel like you're productive and doing something good, even just getting back into work has been wonderful and very healing. So I appreciate you watching this. If you've also experienced an ectopic, again, you're not alone, and thank you to BetterHelp for sponsoring this video. Make sure to head to betterhelp.com/LetsTalkIBD if you are interested in finding your own therapist that is, you know, easier to communicate with and definitely works with you and what you are comfortable with. All right, guys, I will see you in the next.
Thank you so much for watching today's video. If you are looking for a way to help support my channel, consider liking this video or even subscribing. You can also check out my store at LetsTalkIBD.shop. I have stickers and hoodies like these guys over here, just related to chronic illness and inflammatory bowel disease, something fun. And I also have a coupon code for my YouTube watchers. You could also become a member of my channel like the wonderful people scrolling on screen here. They've become a member and they have access to videos a little bit earlier. It's a great way to support my channel, and really, just watching my videos means the world. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next.